Fantasy fanfiction. Eat the frozen fruit and my undead will upgrade to a mythical beast. Chapter 31. Lin Ran has never heard of the Kenglin Lu family. However, one can guess something from the ugly faces of Su Ling, Zhouhe and Zhao Tai. Zhouhe explained to Lin Ran in a low voice. This Lu family is the top family in Kenglin City, the capital of our southeastern province. The head of the family, Lu Shan, is a middle-grade warrior in the 5th realm. As far as this family head is concerned, the strength of the 5th realm middle grade is actually nothing, and it is not the best in our Shanghai city, let alone in a place like Kenglin City, the provincial capital, where there are many masters. Quote. Lin Ran nodded after hearing this. The little beauty Su Ling in front of her, whose father is the deputy Sikyong of Shanghai City, is a 5th-level high-ranking furious axe warrior. Logically speaking, there is no need to be afraid of a 5th-level middle-rank Lu family head, right? Zhao Tai next to him answered with a solemn expression. But the Lu family's ability to maintain its status as a top family in Kenglin City, the provincial capital, is not dependent on this family head. But there is another ancestor in the Lu family, who is the father of the current head of the family. It is said that this ancestor of the Lu family is a beast master, and his strength has reached the top level of the 6th realm. Half-step to the 7th realm. Su Ling let out a sigh. The top-level experts in the ordinary 6 realms can already dominate the entire southeastern province, and this ancestor of the Lu family is also a beast master. You must know that the higher the level of a beast master, the more invincible he is at the same level. My father once said that this ancestor of the Lu family now has 6 contracted beasts, 4 of which are platinum level, and 2 more are already diamond level. Even the strongest beast has reached the level of diamond. Such a beast master can even compete with 2 or 3 other professional experts of the same level at the same time. Looking at the entire southeastern province, the ancestors of the Lu family are definitely among the top 10. Lin Ran and the others were chatting. The adventurers in the front row of the crowd were also shocked for a moment by the words of the Lu family guard commander, and their anger was somewhat suppressed. After all, most people have heard of the Kenglin Lu family and know how powerful they are, so they can't afford to offend them easily. But there are still those who do not believe in evil and are not afraid of trouble. An adventurer swordsman with a middle-level cultivation in the 3 realms stood up and shouted loudly. What happened to the Lu family? The hidden copy is public. Anyone who finds it can enter. Don't be afraid, everyone, even the Lu family can't cover up the sky with one hand. But the words have not yet fallen. But the strong man commander suddenly took a step forward. Suddenly, his body was as fast as lightning and he was in front of the troublemaking adventurer swordsman in an instant. Punch out. The terrifying and fierce wind pressure hit the opponent's chest firmly. Boom. A scalp-numbing heavy muffled sound. This middle-level adventurer swordsman of the 3rd realm even opened his eyes wide and had no time to react. He was as fragile as paper. He was suddenly hit by the punch and flew backwards. Blood spurted out in midair and he fell to the ground. I don't know how many bones were broken, and I was seriously injured and fell unconscious on the spot. All the adventurers present were immediately horrified and shocked. Under the gaze of everyone, the brawny leader retracted his fist calmly, glanced at the adventurers in front of him again, and revealed a cruel smile. This is the fate of seeking death. Who else wants to try? All the adventurers looked sad and angry when they heard this, but in the end no one dared to take a step forward despite the clamor. On the one hand, they were afraid of the tyrannical strength of this brawny leader. On the other hand, they are also afraid of the terrifying background and origins of the Lu family. The noise gradually died down sadly and helplessly. In the back row of the crowd, Su Ling couldn't help but sigh. Never mind. We can't afford to offend the Lu family. Let's go. In her opinion, based on the strength of their 4-person team, although Lin Ran can be regarded as a powerful combatant close to the lower level of the 4th realm and should not be inferior to the strong commander, there are more than 10 younger brothers who are all masters of the 3rd realm. Even the 4 of them cannot compete. Not to mention the consequences of provoking the Lu family. However, after Su Ling finished speaking, she did not receive a response from her side. Su Ling turned around in confusion, looking for Lin Ran. The next second I was stunned to find out. Someone had actually walked through the crowd and reached the entrance to the hidden dungeon that was blocked by a checkpoint. Naturally, He walked up to the strong commander. Looking at this strong man commander who was half a head taller than himself, Lin Ran was quite polite. "Sorry, let me. I want to go in." It was as calm as if he were going to the wet market to buy vegetables. Su Ling, Zhao Tai and Zhou He, who were on the periphery of the crowd, were immediately worried. "Lin Ran don't want it. Classmate Lin, please stop messing around." The strong man commander looked at Lin Ran in front of him in shock, as if he had not expected that such a little devil would dare to come out to seek death. After looking Lin Ran up and down, and seeing that he was wearing a high school uniform and that there were several skeleton boys behind him, the brawny commander couldn't help laughing wildly. "Ha ha 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 ha. You kid, a high school student, how dare you show up with a bunch of broken skeletons? Are you making fun of me?" The other Lu family guards nearby also laughed wildly. A third-level high-ranking man behind the strong commander walked up to him, reaching out his hand with a contemptuous and mocking attitude and about to slap Lin Ran in the face. "You kid, you have no business talking here, get out of here." Just raised his hand. An icy blue cold light flashed across. Blood splashes. The palm of this top-level guard of the third realm was cut off and fell to the ground. The guard was stunned, and the next second he felt the pain, covering his broken arm with blood gushing wildly, and screamed. "Ah! And I don't know when." Shenlin had already arrived in front of Lin Ran, standing quietly with the ice blade in his hand as if nothing had happened. Only the blood drops quietly falling on the ice blade silently told everything. The whole place was shocked. The brawny commander was also stunned for a moment. He had no idea that his brother, who was at the top level of the third realm, would be seriously injured on the spot by the broken skull of an ordinary-looking student brat in front of him. But the next second, the strong man commander came back to his senses and looked at Lin Ran, with a ferocious and cruel look on his face. "Looking for death, right? Good." The thick and muscular arms were raised again instantly, and the clenched fists emitted dangerous and terrifying energy. He was about to swing hard at Lin Ran's head and hit him. Same moment, Lin Ran just lowered his eyes slightly, as if everything had nothing to do with him. Just an order with a casual and ordinary tone. "Dark blue, turn it up." For a moment, two balls of soul fire burned and boiled in the deep blue eyes. The terrifying and boiling pressure seemed like a cold wind sweeping across the entire valley. The blue light circulating in the crystal bones gathered together as if it were real substance, turned into cold blue bone flames and rose up, shrouding the body of the ice blue bone guard like a gorgeous and grand evening dress. Active skills activated. Open black lens bracket. King of Eternal Frost. Close black lens bracket. When black iron is of inferior quality. By activating the ultimate move of the King of Eternal Frost, Deep Blue can easily kill the silver-grade red flame demonic tiger with one frontal blow. And now Deep Blue has been upgraded to the middle grade black iron, which is close to the top grade. The astonishing growth attribute blessing brought by the king level qualifications allows it to easily crush the troll captain, who is also a top grade silver in its ordinary form. So, when such a Deep Blue activates the ultimate move King of Eternal Frost, the terrifying power displayed in an instant, when facing a group of Lu family guards who were no more than 4 realms at most. It is truly devastating. The air in the entire valley seemed to suddenly drop to freezing point. The terrifying and boiling frost element surges like a torrent and sweeps through. They didn't even give the Lu family's guards, headed by the strong commander, a chance to react. After activating his ultimate move, the ice blue bone guard simply raised his arm, and the giant ice bird summoned by Ice Cube and Storm Pheasant's beak flapped its wings and flew forward, flying forward lightly and nimbly. Wherever you go, including the strong commander who is close to the lower level of the 4 realms. A total of 14 Lu family guards. In an instant, they were blown by the extremely terrifying extremely cold ice wind and turned into ice crystal statues that could not move. No longer able to fight back at all. There was no more sound. The battle was declared over immediately from the beginning. It doesn't even take more than 3 seconds from start to finish. The entire valley clearing suddenly fell into a deathly silence. This wave of Lin Ran did not allow Shenlin to kill, but the Ice Cube and Violent Pheasant Mouth blessed by the Eternal Frost King status was enough to make this group of arrogant and domineering Lu family guards severely frostbitten and need at least a day or 2 to recuperate. Months. At this moment, everyone present, including Su Ling, Zhou He, and Zhao Tai, were so shocked that their brains were buzzing and blank, and they were looking at the scene in front of them almost blankly. It was not until the biting coldness in the air made people shiver that they suddenly came back to their senses. They were further shocked to discover that the scene in front of them was not an illusion, but actually happened. All the members of the adventurer team looked at Lin Ran with eyes filled with shock and unconfidence. A student wearing a high school uniform. One person. In an instant, all the Lu family guards who had cultivated the strength of the three realms were killed instantly. Is this him? How could he be a student? What a monster! Su Ling, Zhou He, and Zhao Tai had witnessed the strength of Lin Ran, a skeleton beast, before, but the shock and impact of this moment did not diminish at all, but became even more intense. Zhao Tai's eyes straightened, he swallowed hard, his voice trembled a little, and he murmured. Can a diamond-qualified beast master be so powerful? They are both beast masters, and their contracts are also platinum-level beast masters. But at this moment, when Su Ling heard Zhao Tai's murmur, she shook her head firmly and subconsciously. Impossible. It is impossible for a beast master with ordinary diamond qualifications to have such terrifying strength at the black iron level. At this moment, Su Ling suddenly shuddered. A certain conjecture was uncontrollably accompanied by a chill rising from the back to the top of the head. But before the idea in Su Ling's mind took shape, Lin Ran's usual calm and leisurely greeting came from the front. What are you doing standing still? You can come in. Everyone woke up as if from a dream, and the faces of the adventurers suddenly showed expressions of ecstasy. No more obstacles. Everyone can enter the hidden dungeon. Seeing that the young, terrifying powerful boss, in front of him had no intention of stopping him, all the adventurer teams suddenly rushed like crazy and rushed towards the entrance portal where the copy was hidden. Su Ling, Zhao Tai and Zhou He also quickly collected their thoughts and hurried forward to Lin Ran. The four of them walked to the entrance portal of the hidden dungeon and walked in hand. Go through the portal. Lin Ran and Su Ling's team also entered the secret realm of the hidden dungeon. It was still a red land, but the smell of sulfur in the air was extremely strong, so hot that it almost seemed to burn. Zhao Tai couldn't help but show a shocked look on his face. What a rich spiritual energy. Lin Ran, Su Ling and Zhou He next to them all nodded with surprise on their faces. The abundance of spiritual energy in this hidden secret copy is at least 3 to 5 times higher than that of the lava valley outside. And in such a secret copy, no doubt, the probability of finding treasures from heaven and earth is definitely greatly increased. The four members of the team quickly moved forward, and soon encountered the first batch of ferocious beasts in this hidden secret dungeon, a group of flame goblin warriors, whose strength ranged from high-grade bronze to low-grade silver. Not too strong. 2 melee fighters, Zhou He and Zhao Tai, were in the front row, and 2 beast masters, Lin Ran and Su Ling, let their respective beast masters fight together. This group of ferocious beasts were quickly dispatched and killed. The explosion rate is gratifying. It's just that this small team of flame goblin warriors actually broke out 3 pieces of bronze-level equipment and a low-grade silver necklace in one breath. There are also 2 bronze-quality fire spiritual stones. This kind of harvest also made Lin Ran and the 4 of them overjoyed, and they were even more energetic and continued to move forward. Gradually, the strength levels of the ferocious beasts encountered were also increasing. When they began to encounter high-grade silver or even extremely high-grade silver ferocious beasts, Su Ling, Zhao Tai and Zhou He began to have some difficulty. But Deep Blue still easily chopped up melons and vegetables, killing them randomly. Later, Su Ling and the other 3 had the same task as Lin Ran's several skeleton fire spells. They were responsible for mindless firing to attract hatred and attract monsters, leaving all the rest to Shenlin alone. A large number of materials, equipment and fire spiritual stones are constantly collected. During this process, Lin Ran's level also rose to level 1 intermediate level 7, and Deep Blue also reached level 6 black iron intermediate level. The combat power is further improved. The speed of spawning monsters is soaring. At this time, Su Ling also learned that Deep Blue had not even reached the top grade of black iron, and was even more shocked to the point of complete confusion. Her seductive little cherry mouth barely opened into an O shape. Can a middle grade black iron be so powerful? Then when you reach the bronze level, wouldn't you just kill gold level ferocious beasts casually? Then Su Ling couldn't help but look at Lin Ran with her beautiful eyes, her eyes filled with excitement. With such a level of heaven-defying beast, there is almost no suspense about the number one scholar in Shanghai City in this big entrance examination, and it must be Lin Ran. He may even win the title of provincial number one scholar in the Southeast Province. The results are rich. The harvest is gratifying. After getting rid of 3 top-quality silver goblin wizards, Lin Ran took stock of the harvest in his storage space, and took a small portion of the equipment according to the pre-agreed distribution ratio. As for the most important fire spirit stones, Su Ling generously gave them all away. Not counting the previous gains, just after entering this hidden dungeon secret realm, Lin Ran has already harvested a total of 36 bronze-quality fire spiritual stones, and there are also 13 silver-quality fire spiritual stones. It's 4 to 5 times more rewarding than working hard to farm monsters outside in the lava valley. Lin Ran operated the panel and synthesized the fire spiritual stones on hand. Now he has accumulated more than 15,000 energy points. A total of 50 bronze-quality spiritual stones are accumulated, and 5 silver-quality spiritual stones are synthesized, which costs 2,500 energy points. Just enough to gather 20 silver-quality spiritual stones, and then synthesize 2 gold-quality spiritual stones, which costs 10,000 energy points. There are more than 2,600 energy points left. Lin Ran opened the lucky treasure grid 5 times. 5 draws in a row. Unexpected surprise. Congratulations to the host for winning the prize. 1 blue wave ball. Close black lens bracket. And this prompt rang 3 times in a row. Of the 5 lucky treasure squares that were opened, only 2 were empty, and the remaining 3 squares were all won consecutively. Got 3 blue wave balls. I couldn't wait to click on the introduction panel of this blue wave ball, and the content description I saw made Lin Ran excited for a moment. Name: Blue Wave Ball. Rating: B+ grade. Explanation: the drug invented by Chopper in the comic One Piece, after the beast is taken, can temporarily increase the strength of a large realm. Lasting for 5 minutes, can only be used on beasts below the platinum strength level. Lin Ran's eyes suddenly lit up. What a good thing. A blue wave ball is equivalent to a powerful buff for 5 minutes. If given to the current Deep Blue's strength level would temporarily reach top grade bronze. If you add the King of Eternal Frost who activates his ultimate move, that can even compete with top quality gold or even platinum level ferocious beasts. And if we wait for Deep Blue's level to be raised to gold level, and then use the blue wave ball to raise it to platinum level in one fell swoop, maybe even if we encounter diamonds or even more terrifying master level beasts, we will have the opportunity to face them head on. Hard shake. This kind of treasure, now you can get 3 of them directly in a lottery. This is equivalent to 3 more ways to save life by pressing the bottom of the box. Lin Ran was in a good mood for a while. Walk. Keep moving forward. Outside the hidden dungeon, in the D-level secret realm Lava Valley. The entrance to the hidden copy just now. A group of Lu family guards had been rescued from the freezing state, but they were still lying in a mess, screaming in pain and wailing. And a thin young man wearing a luxurious mage robe had a sinister and angry look on his face at this moment, and he yelled at the subordinates in front of him. Waste. They are all waste. What is the use of raising you? This young man is called Lu Xin. He is the direct grandson of the Lu family in Kanglan City, the provincial capital, the son of the head of the Lu family, and the most beloved grandson of the Lu family ancestors. Not only did she have a noble birth and a strong background, Lu Xin herself was also striving for success. Although she failed to awaken the Beast Master profession, she also awakened the Elemental Master, one of the hidden professions, and her talents and qualifications were extraordinary. He was also a candidate for this year's college entrance examination. He originally took a group of his subordinates into the Lava Valley Secret Realm dungeon to farm monsters and upgrade, and happened to encounter the hidden dungeon Secret Realm teleportation entrance. At that time, Lu Xin was overjoyed and asked his subordinates to set up checkpoints here to block the way. He then returned to his family and urgently found stronger masters to guard him, preparing to enter the hidden dungeon for a good sweep. Unexpectedly, the helpers were brought, and the group of useless subordinates responsible for guarding the entrance actually let those adventurers break in. Thinking that the various treasures in the hidden dungeon would be snatched away by those adventurers, Lu Xun became even more furious. A subordinate who was slightly injured came up tremblingly and reported, "Master, it's not that we don't work hard. Just now there was a beast master kid in a high school uniform. He was very capable. He brought a skeleton beast master and knocked us all down by himself. We couldn't stop him at all." The other Lu family guards who were severely frostbitten also showed lingering fear and horror, and nodded repeatedly. Result. Before the subordinate finished speaking, Lu Xun slapped him hard on the face, making a loud and clear crack. The expression on Lu Xun's face was twisted, even more ferocious and cruel. "Fart. What kind of bullshit are you doing? A high school student, even though he is a top-notch person, he has just been promoted to the first level of high level and at most the second level of low level. Even if the beast-controlling person you bring has gold and platinum level qualifications, why don't you give it back to him? Could he be able to kill a group of you 3-level cultivators? Can you make up a more reliable reason?" At this time, a gray-robed man about 30 years old came up behind Lu Xun and spoke slowly. "Master, there is no need to be angry. If a beast's talent and qualifications can reach platinum or even diamond level, then even if its strength level is low, it can indeed achieve a leapfrog sweep. However, a beast master with this level of qualification must be a top-notch genius beast master. He can only come from a few aristocratic families in the Federation. They all have more advanced private secret realm copies available, and they don't look down on such ordinary beast masters at all. Copy." Having said this, the man in gray robe paused and showed a cold and conceited smile. "So, we don't have to worry at all. It doesn't matter if you let the group of adventurers go in first. Let them take the front line. Master, you have me waiting. In the end, all you have to do is reap the benefits without any effort." Behind the gray-robed man, stood a group of Lu family guards in fine attire. Each guard had a cold and stern look on his face. The aura exuding from his body was extremely shocking and powerful, and his arrogance was soaring to the sky. They were even more powerful than the guards who were responsible for guarding the teleportation entrance just now. Must be at least one level stronger. After hearing what the man in gray robes said, Lu Xun's expression softened and he looked at the group of powerful subordinate guards in front of him with a ferocious smile on his face. Rational. The mantis stalks the cicada, but the oriole follows behind. The harvest of this hidden copy. Our Lu family wants them all. The tone is bloodthirsty and violent. Murderous. Hidden within the secret copy. The 4 members of Lin Ran's team continue to advance further. At this time, Lin Ran had already harvested 13 bronze quality and 16 silver quality fire spiritual stones. Then used the synthesis system to synthesize it, and get another gold quality fire spirit stone. At the same time, Lin Ran and his beast-controlling Deep Blue also upgraded 1 level each, reaching the first level mid-level 8 and the Black Iron mid-level 7. In particular, Deep Blue's combat effectiveness is still increasing at an astonishing speed visible to the naked eye. Shortly after, the 4 members of the team even encountered a low-grade gold lava troll leader. He was burly and strong, with a height of 3.5 meters. The terrifying aura exuding from his body was more than a little more tyrannical than the previous top-grade silver troll captain. Under normal circumstances, if Su Ling, Zhao Tai and Zhou He encountered this giant demon leader, they would never have a chance to escape. Result. Deep Blue opens directly and enters the King of Eternal Frost state. The Ice Blue Bone Guard, whose whole body was wrapped in ice blue flames, faced off against the low-grade gold troll leader head-on. The perfect fighting skills displayed actually made the troll leader spin around and couldn't even touch Deep Blue's body once, and finally collapsed heavily with wounds all over his body. A gold-level fire spirit stone exploded directly. Lin Ran happily put the loot into his storage space. On the side, Su Ling, Zhao Tai and Zhou He were already looking at Lin Ran and Shenlin, the master and servant, with astonishing eyes as if they were looking at gods. With the level of first level mid-level and Black Iron mid-level, he can actually defeat a gold-level ferocious beast in seconds. Su Ling's beautiful eyes couldn't help but look at Lin Ran with excitement. Lin Ran, with your strength, let alone this big entrance exam. Entering Longxia Academy, the top university in our federation, is definitely a sure thing. Even, there is a chance to be selected into the Hidden Dragon Pavilion of Longxia Academy. In the entire Shanghai city, no one has received such an honor in the past 5 years. Even if we look at the southeastern provinces, there are definitely no more than 3 people who are specially recruited by Longxia Academy to enter the Hidden Dragon Pavilion every year. If you can enter Yinlong Pavilion this time, not only your school, Beishi High School, but also the entire Shanghai city will be honored. Longxia Academy, Hidden Dragon Pavilion. Lin Ran has heard of it too. It is said that only the top-level talents are recruited in the major provinces of the Federation. The enrollment quota for each class is extremely rare. After the selected students enter the Hidden Dragon Pavilion to practice, they will grow up to at least the 6th level after graduation. However, this kind of thing is no longer very attractive to Lin Ran now. After all, just relying on the king-level beast controlling Deep Blue alone is enough to ensure that he can steadily reach the heights of a strong man in the 7th or even 8th realm. Not to mention that there is also a golden finger synthesis system nearby. Just give him enough time to grow. Perhaps no one can imagine the heights he can reach in the future. At this time, suddenly there was an earth-shattering roar not far ahead. Including the 4 members of Lin Ran's team, they suddenly turned their heads and followed the sound. Zhao Tai, who had the highest level of strength among them, had a look of horror and shock on his face. Such a strong ferocious beast's aura. Same moment. Shen Lan also suddenly turned his head to look at the place where the roaring voice came from. The ice-blue soul flame in his eyes boiled, as if he had encountered a huge and powerful enemy like never before. Lin Ran squinted slightly. Walk. Go and see. The deepest part of the hidden dungeon secret realm. It is a circular valley. In the middle of the valley is a red lava pool, emitting terrifying scorching heat. Bubbles are constantly rolling in the lava pool, making loud explosions. What is even more terrifying is that the entire valley from the lava pool to the shore is densely covered with dozens or hundreds of pythons. The body of the python is deep red or red. The smallest one is as thick as an adult's arm and 6 or 7 meters long, while the largest ones are as thick as buckets or even wooden stakes, reaching an astonishing length of more than 10 meters. Each of these pythons, the weakest, is a ferocious beast with high-grade silver or even top-grade silver power. There are also 5 python leaders who are huge in body, red in color with a hint of golden light flowing around them, and they have reached the terrifying low-grade gold strength. However, there are also many adventurers around the magma pool at this moment. A full 7 or 8 teams of nearly 30 or 40 people were engaged in a fierce battle with this group of red giant pythons. Among them, a small number of adventurers were previously stopped in front of the teleportation entrance with Lin Ran and others. Their strength and cultivation were slightly weaker, but they were all above the 3rd realm. The other large part are adventurers who have entered the hidden dungeon before, and their strength is obviously stronger. Most of them are in the middle or even high level of the 3 realms. There are also 3 captains of adventurer teams, and they are even more powerful in the 4 realms. A strong man with a giant shield and a machete in his hand, with a majestic figure and muscular body, and the aura he exudes has reached the middle level of the 4th realm. He has the same profession as Zhao Tai, who is a shield warrior but has been further upgraded to the giant shield heavy war clothes black lens bracket. A long-haired beauty with a graceful figure and a heroic appearance, holding a long bow as tall as a person in her hand. She is a low-grade wood spirit arrow craftsman in the 4 realms. Another man wearing a robe, holding a staff, is a beast master of the 4th realm, but at this moment he summoned 4 beasts, 3 of which were top-grade silver, and another giant black bear, which reached the low-grade gold level. The combat power of 1 person can even be used as 2 people. Under the leadership of 3 powerful captains from the 4 realms, a group of adventurers faced hundreds of red giant pythons and 5-headed python leaders, and they were hard to separate. But gradually I gained the upper hand and advantage little by little. Especially with the cooperation of the giant shield heavy warrior captain and the archer woman fired a unique move, wood spirit arrow, which accurately penetrated through the mouth of a giant python leader. The giant python leader was seriously injured on the spot and was on the verge of death. He let out a wailing cry and hit the ground hard. Immediately, the spirits and morale of the adventurers present were greatly boosted. "Come on, kill all these pythons." At this time, an earth-shattering roar sounded. The lava pool was boiling, and a terrifying and huge dragon-like snake figure broke through the water and rose into the air, causing countless molten fire points to splash all over the sky. And when the fire spots scattered all over the sky, the figure of the terrifying giant python finally slowly appeared in front of everyone's eyes. It is a terrifying length of 20 feet and more than 60 meters. He has a thick body and cannot be hugged by several people. The whole body is red, with a faint golden light on the edge of each scale, exuding a dangerous and strange luster. The giant python's head was as big as a millstone, and its pair of cold vertical pupils seemed to carry the terrifying majesty of a king. On the top of the giant python's head, there was an obvious protrusion, as if tentacles were about to break out of the skin. For a moment, including the 3 adventurer captains with 4-level cultivation, everyone's expressions changed. Name: King of Lava Python. Attribute: Fire Element. Grade: Top Grade Gold. 4-dimensional values: Strength 420, Agility 480, Spirit 600, Endurance 420. Skill Introduction: Molten Dragon Bloodline. Passive skill, LV5. Coming from the bloodline of the Molten Dragon, it has strong resistance to fire attacks and can automatically deal with its own injuries when in a molten environment. Recover. Red Flame Fireball. Active skill, LV4. Spits out a fireball containing terrifying energy, and the explosion damage is astonishing. Python Whipping. Active skill, LV4. Use your body as hard as steel to whip and swing, with power that can break gold and crack stones. Molten Breath. Active skill, LV5. Breathes out terrifying scorching flames with a flame temperature as high as 1200 degrees Celsius. Encourage the Group of Snakes. Active skill, LV4. Let out a long roar to boost the morale of the subordinates, temporarily increasing the combat effectiveness of the subordinate pythons by 30%. Remarks: The Python King, who has been practicing at the bottom of the lava pool for 500 years, has a trace of the true dragon blood of his ancient ancestors. If he continues to practice, he is expected to break through and become a dragon. For a moment, the faces of all the adventurers changed. Originally, they thought that the biggest boss in the lava pool was the leader of the 5 gold-level pythons. As long as they worked together to kill them one by one, the remaining silver-level pythons would not be a concern. Unexpectedly, in the deepest part of this lava pool, there actually lives such a truly terrifying giant python king. A terrifying beast of top-quality gold. The real big boss. And looking at the protrusions on the top of the head of this giant python king, tentacles are already vaguely visible. If you give it some time to practice at the bottom of the lava pool, it may really transform into a dragon, and even directly break through to the realm of platinum or even diamond level. Under the gaze of countless shocked and fearful eyes, the giant python king in the lava pool suddenly let out an earth-shattering roar again. The huge body of more than 20 feet long swung suddenly, and the thick python tail was like a steel whip, carrying the terrifying and shrill air-piercing wind pressure and throwing it towards the beautiful archer captain not far away. The beautiful archer captain suddenly turned pale and wanted to retreat but had no time to react. A critical moment. The brawny captain of Giant Shield Heavy Battle roared and threw himself in front of his companions like lightning. His arms suddenly exerted force and his muscles bulged with veins. He raised the giant shield in his hand and faced the terrifying whip of the Python King. Go up! Boom! A terrifying loud noise. The indestructible giant shield in the hands of the strong man captain was instantly ripped into pieces by the Python King's tail and exploded all over the sky. The frightening force so powerful that the strong man captain of the middle grade of the 4th realm suddenly spurted out blood and flew backwards like a rag. At the same time, the giant Python King opened its ferocious and terrifying mouth, and the violent fire element energy instantly gathered and surged, turning into a giant fireball with a diameter of 2 meters and shooting towards the robed Beast Master in the other direction. The Beast Master's expression changed drastically. Urgently, he urged his golden low-grade beast-controlling giant black bear to return to the defense for rescue. The giant black bear risked his life and threw himself at the giant fireball trying to block it. The fireball hit the body of the giant black bear firmly. Exploded with a bang. The giant black bear, which weighed several tons, let out a scream and howled, and was blown up and flew more than 10 meters away, crashing to the ground. It was unknown whether it was alive or dead. The beast master himself was also affected by the contract. His mental strength was severely damaged, and he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood and staggered down. In just an instant, the Python King crushed and defeated a middle-grade warrior of the 4th realm and a low-grade beast master of the 4th realm. The next moment, the giant Python King let out another roar that was like breaking gold and cracking rocks. Skill. The snakes are encouraging. Invisible energy fluctuations swept through the entire valley. Hundreds of giant red pythons swayed and stood upright in response to the roars of the crowd. The aura they exuded suddenly increased by at least 20 to 30%. All the adventurers present could not help but have expressions of despair on their faces. It's over. All of them are going to die here. It was at this time that 4 members of Lin Ran's team came to the valley and happened to see such a terrifying and shocking scene. Just the hundreds of giant red pythons and the leader of the pythons on the shore of the lava pool. But the giant Python King hovering in the center of the lava pool and exuding a terrifying aura caused the faces of Su Ling, Zhao Tai and Zhou He to completely lose all color and turn pale in an instant. Totally unexpected. In the deepest part of this hidden dungeon, there is such a terrifying boss. Not far away, the beautiful archer captain on the other side saw Lin Ran and Su Ling wearing school uniforms and recognized that the two were probably still high school students, and shouted anxiously. "Run! You can't come here." But it seemed it was too late. Originally, it was only 4 humans with at most 3 levels or even 1 level of cultivation who entered the territory, which was far from enough to attract the attention of the gold-grade ferocious beasts. But it happened to be this moment. The giant Python King in the center of the lava pool suddenly turned his huge head, and a pair of slender vertical pupils with cold eyes shot towards him like lightning. The figures of Su Ling and others reflected in the vertical pupils seemed to be ignored. The sight is locked. It was Shen Lan who was standing next to Lin Ran. Same moment. Shenlan had already taken a step forward to protect his master behind him, and also raised his head. 2 balls of ice-blue flames burning and beating in his eyes met the gaze of the Python King. A medium-grade black iron beast. A top-grade golden beast. The eyes of both parties met in midair, nearly 100 meters apart. Lin Ran raised his eyebrows. "Run. What are you running for? Confide." Dark blue. Even without verbal communication, the tacit understanding between master and servant is enough to reach a consensus. For a moment, the soul flame in the deep blue eyes is burning and boiling. Passive skills are activated. The power of the king. Suddenly, an invisible and cold pressure was like a violent wind, sweeping across the entire valley. It was as if the entire space was trembling at this moment. Dozens of adventurers from at least 3 realms present, including 3 adventurer captains from 4 realms, all felt as if their hearts were suddenly grasped by a giant hand and almost suffocated for a moment. And wherever this king's pressure passed, the hundreds of giant red pythons around the lava pool, including the remaining 4 giant python leaders, had their tyrannical aura that had just surged several points suddenly been severely suppressed again. The combat effectiveness has been forcibly weakened by at least 30%. A red giant python with top-grade silver or even top-grade silver. The golden python leader. A moment ago, they were clearly inspired by their king's roar, their momentum surged and their combat effectiveness increased greatly. This moment, but it seemed as if he was suddenly run over by a terrifying wind pressure. They let out a horrifying scream, and even their huge and astonishing snake bodies trembled and trembled uncontrollably, and were forced to lower their heads and almost hang to the ground. This is a respect that they have never experienced when facing their king. This is the deep fear of the king in the soul. It is a crushing that transcends the level of strength and is truly noble. Not only these red giant pythons and giant python leaders, but also the king of the giant magma python in the center of the magma pool. The red flames burning around him at this moment were invisibly suppressed and weakened by several points. The whole place was shocked. Dozens of adventurers in 7 or 8 teams were simply shocked and stunned. But when he came back to his senses the next second, he was suddenly ecstatic. The combat power buff of these giant pythons that had just been enhanced by the snake encouragement skill of the king of giant pythons was suddenly completely offset at this moment, and in turn was even further weakened. That battle that was already almost desperate. Like, I can fight again. The three adventurer captains were even more energetic. Although they didn't even think about what happened at this moment, they saw that the situation on the field had changed again and there was hope. How could they miss the opportunity? Brothers, come together. Kill these fire loaches, and if they explode, we'll share them equally. The seriously injured strong man captain roared angrily. The other adventurers were also encouraged. In addition, the combat effectiveness of this group of red giant pythons was reduced by the pressure of the deep blue king, and was not as good as before, causing the battle situation to tilt towards the adventurers again. At the same time, 3 adventurer captains with 4 realms of cultivation also decisively joined forces at this moment. The thin beast master named Leng Han ordered his other 3 top-grade silver beasts to entangle a low-grade gold python leader, while the strong man Captain Tishan rushed forward with a broken giant shield in his hand and a big knife. Cooperate. Finally, the beautiful archer captain named Nightingale was given a chance to take action. The long bow is as bright as the full moon. Wood spirit arrow. A stream of cyan light burst through the sky like lightning. Instantly penetrated the head of the giant python leader. Kill with one blow. The body of this giant python leader, which was more than 4 feet long, suddenly lost its vitality and crashed down into the lava pool. Take down another boss. The spirit and morale of the adventurers further increased, and the fans shouted, "Captain is mighty." But at the same moment, the giant python king in the center of the lava pool was finally irritated. He raised his head to the sky again and let out a roar of rage. The tail of the python whip was like a steel whip, and it was fiercely pulled out again, and the 2 top silver beasts were strong at once. Captain Han Tishan whipped him away again. The next second, the giant python king opened his huge mouth and fired a red flame fireball in the direction of Lin Ran, the 4 people in Shen Lan like lightning. This fireball carries terrifying boiling energy and aura of death. While it was approaching rapidly, the extremely hot and terrifying heat was wrapped in a wave of boiling flames, and it seemed as if it was already coming from dozens of meters away. However, the ice blue bone guard guarding his master was still standing quietly at this moment. It's just that the soul flame in his eyes is boiling again. The ultimate move is activated. King of Eternal Frost. The gorgeous evening dress belonging to the king turned into ice blue flames, boiling and sweeping around his body. Combat power attributes are instantly increased by 50%. At this moment, Deep Blue's 4-dimensional attributes skyrocketed astonishingly. Open black lens bracket, strength close black lens bracket, 255. Agility 255. Open black lens bracket, spirit close black lens bracket, 540. Open black lens bracket, endurance close black lens bracket, 255. Compared with the 4-dimensional attributes of the gold top-grade lava python king in its normal state, although there is still a gap in strength, agility and endurance, the mental attributes are extremely close. Especially under the suppression of the passive skills of King's Might, all attributes of the molten python king were forcibly reduced by nearly 20%. So at this moment, the ice blue bone guard is not only closer to his opponent in the other 3 attributes, he is even ahead in terms of mental attributes. A giant fireball carrying terrifying energy came with a bang. For a moment, Deep Blue raised his slender ice crystal arm, and gently tapped his ice blue bony fingers forward. An ice blue ice crystal shield appeared out of thin air. A head-on collision with the incoming giant fireball produced an earth-shattering explosion and roar. The fireball exploded into countless sparks and flames scattered all over the sky. The ice shield also withstood the explosion damage of this fireball, and instantly cracked with countless cracks, and the next second it shattered and exploded with a crack. But he carried it firmly. No matter Shenlin or the 4 members of Lin Ran's team behind him, they were unscathed. Su Ling, Zhao Tai and Zhou He were stunned. Even Zhao Tai Zhou forgot that he had just escaped from death, and opened his mouth wide and let out an expletive. What the hell? The adventurers not far away were also shocked. Especially Tishan, Lengan and Nightingale, as the captains of the adventurer team and strong men in the 4 realms, they know better than anyone how terrifying and astonishing the power of a fireball from this golden top-grade Python King is. But the more aware of its power, the more shocked and horrified it becomes. This high school boy can't survive from the top level to the second level, and the beast control can only be between the top level of black iron and bronze. Actually, he was actually able to catch this red fireball in a 1v1, even if they caught it, they would be killed or injured. Still unscathed. In fact, it seems that in this battle of skills, this ice blue skeleton has the upper hand. And the next moment, an even more horrifying scene began to unfold. Deep Blue, who received the red fireball, didn't seem satisfied with just being beaten passively. You don't even need to be reminded by Lin Ran, the master. The next second, the soul fire in the deep blue eyes suddenly surged. The violent and surging ice elemental energy followed the instructions of the guardian of the permafrost soil at this moment, and quickly condensed on the ground under the feet of the ice blue bone guard to form layers of ice, paving and spreading forward as if there was life. It turned into an ice tunnel and headed toward the Python King in the center of the lava pool like lightning. Same moment, the ice blade in Deep Blue's hand condensed and formed instantly. He suddenly pushed out with force. The figure turned into an icy blue phantom, watched by countless horrified and shocked eyes throughout the valley. Follow the ice path and rush towards the Python King. The hundreds of giant red pythons around the lava pool, after being suppressed by the Deep Blue King's power, their combat effectiveness was greatly weakened. The dozens of adventurers entrusted to these 7 or 8 adventurer teams have been able to cope with it and gradually gained the upper hand. The number of python corpses on the shore is also increasing. So this war, the real key to victory is still to see whether this golden top-grade lava Python King can be eliminated. As for Deep Blue, regardless of the dozens or hundreds of giant python monsters, you only need to deal with this boss. It happens to be his area of expertise. The passive skill King's power weakens the attributes that suppress the opponent in advance. At the same time, the active skill King of Eternal Frost can increase its overall combat effectiveness by 50%. 1 increase and 1 decrease. The mid-level Black Iron Ice Blue Bone Guard even has the strength and capital to challenge the golden high-level Giant Python King head-on by 3 levels. Coupled with the inheritance of King-level fighting skills. At this moment, Dark Blue's feet stepped on the ice road, and his figure was as agile as a ghost, surrounding the huge Python King and constantly waving ice blades to attack. Even though the King of Python has rough skin and thick flesh, the ice blade blessed with high mental power is in the hands of Deep Blue. Every time he swings it, it can leave a bloody wound on the King of Python with bones visible. Every time the ice blade cuts across, they all set off a scarlet hot blood flower. At the same time, among the 3 adventurer captains, Leng Han, a low-level beast master in the 4th realm, was seriously injured and endangered by his strongest beast master, the Black Bear, so he was unable to participate in the boss battle. So he just controlled his remaining 3 top-grade silver beasts and cooperated with other adventurers to surround and kill several low-grade gold python leaders. And the other 2 people, Tishan and Nightingale. But he has quickly developed a tacit cooperation with Shen Lan. A heavy battle with the giant shield of the middle grade of the 4 realms. Plus a low-grade wood spirit arrowsmith from the 4 realms. It is enough to help Deep Blue in a boss battle of this level. A tank human shield attracts firepower, and the other long-range archer is constantly looking for opportunities to fire. Nightingale was already working hard. Every time she opened her bow and set an arrow, she sacrificed her mental strength to shoot out wood spirit arrows, one after another regardless of the cost. After hitting the target, it would also cause serious damage to the Python King. But the 2 captains, who cooperated so tacitly, shocked Deep Blue even more intensely in this boss battle. They even wondered if this was the beast summoned by the high school boy. As agile as a ghost, the damage caused by each attack to the Python King was even more amazing than the full strength of the 2 of them. This is simply a feat that is difficult to achieve even for beast masters who have reached the gold level of strength. At least their partner Leng Han's low-grade golden beast-controlling giant black bear was nothing compared to this ice blue skeleton. Or is that high school boy actually some kind of reclusive strongman who likes to pretend to be a pig and eat the tiger? Next moment, the scene that happened made Nightingale and Tishan even more certain of their judgment. Because Lin Ran actually participated in this boss battle. The fighting method of the Beast Master is to drive his own beast into battle, and he does not have any more abilities. But Lin Ran is different. Lujin Bone Shield and Volt Ray Arrow are two new combined skills, one for attack and one for defense. The former can ensure their own safety. The latter. It just comes in handy in boss battles like this. Lin Ran, who was standing on the shore in the distance, quickly raised his hand and used his spiritual power to summon a Volt Thunderbolt that shot through the air like thunder and lightning. Accurately hit the target Python King's body. The golden bone arrow instantly exploded into pieces on the thick skin of the Python King, unable to even cause effective damage. But for a moment, 5% chance of triggering passive paralysis effect. But the huge body of the top-grade gold magma Python King became stiff and unable to move for a moment. Nightingale and Tishan were almost stunned when they discovered this scene, but in the next second, their instincts as strong men in the Four Realms made them subconsciously seize the opportunity to take action. The thick machete and a wood spirit arrow were fired at the giant sword respectively. The weak spot of the Python King brought up a shower of blood. In Deep Blue waved the ice blade in his hand and jumped up into the sky until he was right in front of the target Python King's head. A magical blue trajectory flashed by. Blood splashes. The giant Python King's left eye was cut open and blinded, and he let out a loud roar of pain that shook the sky. It was only then that Nightingale and Tishan suddenly came to their senses. They were so ecstatic that they looked at Lin Ran in a hurry and almost worshipped this young-looking, hidden master as a god. Hidden and hidden. It's really hidden. One shot of the skill Thunder Arrow can actually force the gold-grade Python King into paralysis. Let alone the second and third realms. It is difficult for a powerful professional in the legal profession who is of the lower level in the Four Realms to achieve this level. Soon. The cooperation between Lin Ran, the two adventure team captains and Shenlin has become even more tacit. The former is just mindlessly throwing away skills from the farthest distance, purely relying on the Voltray arrow to try his luck. As long as the paralysis effect with a 5% probability is triggered, it can help several other teammates gain opportunities to attack and cause damage. Nightingale and Tishan were actually auxiliaries. The real main confrontation. It is still completed by Deep Blue, who activates his ultimate move, King of Eternal Frost. Every second of the battle is thrilling. But as time goes by, not only the number of pythons around the lava pool continues to decrease, but the wounds on the giant Python King's huge body are also increasing, and the terrifying and tyrannical aura that was exuded at the beginning has gradually weakened. The adventurers from all teams are in full swing. The fighting spirit is getting higher and higher. We have seen the light of victory. Nightingale and Tishan felt the state of the Python King, whose aura was gradually weakening, and they were even more ecstatic. It's dying. Try harder and kill it. However, right now, it seemed that he felt an unprecedented death threat, and the number of his subordinates who were killed in battle continued to decrease, which finally made the king of the magma python completely furious. Sweep the giant tail hard. He suddenly whipped away the tail of Tishan, who was constantly fighting in front of him, and also forced Shenlin's figure to retreat. Immediately, the giant Python King's huge body of more than 20 feet suddenly stood up and seemed to soar into the sky. Let out a thundering roar of rage. Next moment, the unprecedented, terrifying and crazy gathering of boiling fire element energy swept over. The lava pool is completely boiling. As if being sucked by a long whale, the water rolled up and poured into the huge body of the giant Python King. The huge snake body of more than 20 feet suddenly turned completely red, as if it was burning and was enveloped in a golden red light. And on the top of the Python King's head, the protrusion that was originally hidden under the scaly snake skin actually grew and broke out to form a striking horn at a speed visible to the naked eye. For a moment, Tishan, Nightingale, Lengan, and almost all the adventurers present who had some knowledge. His face suddenly changed. Su Ling's pretty face turned pale and she exclaimed. Force a breakthrough. The gold-grade molten Python King. There is a trace of true dragon blood in his body. If he practices in this lava pool for 500 years, if he is given a long enough time, he will really have a chance to transform into a dragon. And although the probability is extremely low, once it really transforms into a dragon, even the weakest dragon clan can easily enter the top or even top-grade diamonds. Practitioners in the ordinary 6 realms cannot compete with them. Only the legendary strong ones in the 7th realm and above can easily compete with them. Only then can they compete against each other. At the moment, no one could have imagined it. Faced with a life and death crisis, the already injured king of the magma python forcibly absorbed the violent fire elemental energy in the magma pool at all costs and broke through. The price paid for such an improvement and breakthrough method is that this giant magma python king should be destined to never have the chance to transform into a dragon in this life. But in exchange, at this critical moment of life and death, he broke through and became a dragon. Promoted to a giant molten dragon. At this moment, the huge body of the giant magma dragon in the magma pool made a creaking sound, and it continued to surge like bamboo shoots jointing, from the original more than 20 feet to a height of 30 feet. The terrifying boiling aura emanating from the whole body made almost all the adventurers present extremely frightened. Everyone's expressions changed. This breath, not to mention that it has reached platinum level, it is definitely infinitely close. Platinum level giant molten dragon. Tishan's face showed a look of despair. As a middle-grade giant shield warrior in the 4 realms, he was very aware of the terror of the giant molten dragon in front of him. The king of giant pythons at the top grade gold level could barely survive with them. But the giant molten dragon has directly risen to an entire realm compared to the giant python king. Comparable to the strongest of the 5 human realms. Even if all of them were present together, they would no longer be able to match this giant molten dragon. At this moment, the giant magma dragon that had successfully broken through in the center of the magma pool had ferocious horns on its head, and its cold vertical pupils the size of millstones exuded a cruel and sadistic cold taste. The next second, the head of the giant molten dragon drooped slightly, and the ferocious horn on top of its head pointed forward. Suddenly, a pale golden light beam, carrying an infinitely terrifying and dangerous aura of death, shot towards the nightingale not far away like lightning. Careful! In an instant, Tishan was the quickest to react. His face suddenly changed, and without thinking, he threw himself in front of his shooter as fast as he could. With a broken giant shield in his hand, he forcibly raised it. With a roar, he tried his best to use all his strength to push himself and the shooter. Teammates protect each other. Another second. That terrifying pale golden light beam had hit the giant shield in front of Tishan. The heavy battle of the 4 realms middle-grade giant shields activates all-out protection. Suddenly, the terrifying death and destructive power contained in the pale golden light beam was shattered and penetrated. Then he bumped into Tishan's burly body. Tishan suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. His body flew upside down and hit Nightingale behind him. The 2 powerful men of the 4th realm were just blown away by this seemingly insignificant light golden beam, which penetrated and blasted them back to the rock wall of the valley dozens of meters away. Seriously injured and on the verge of death in an instant. No more mobility. Without giving the adventurers present time and opportunity to react. As soon as the giant magma dragon swept away, it set off a large ball of magma fire that splashed all over the sky in the magma pool. The balls of magma flames suddenly sputtered and scattered in all directions, hitting the adventurers around the magma pool. For a moment, he actually smashed at least 20 more adventurers into serious injuries. Screams suddenly came one after another. The terrifying strength of the platinum-level ferocious beast is fully demonstrated at this moment, which truly makes people despair and even lose the courage to resist. It seems that heaven to hell is reversed in such an instant. At this moment, almost everyone present was in complete despair. The next second, the giant magma dragon finally turned to Deep Blue, who was standing quietly not far away. The cold vertical pupils locked the blue flame-breaking skeleton again. Immediately, the platinum-level giant magma dragon looked up to the sky and let out a roar. With this earth-shattering roar, the entire lava pool rolled and boiled again. Under the gaze of almost everyone, whose faces turned pale and were shocked and heartbroken. The magma pool keeps boiling. The endless red lava actually rose up out of thin air and converged to form a terrifying giant magma snake energy body that was also 30 or 40 feet tall. It carried an extremely terrifying and extremely hot aura of death, and the next moment it exploded like lightning. Pounce hard towards Deep Blue. Skill. The raging waves of the flaming snake. Wherever the energy body of the magma snake passes. Set off a huge wave of flames. Suddenly, it felt like half of the entire valley was burning. All were dyed the crimson red of death. It was as if the entire molten world was being carried and charged towards the deep blue. It is simply the extremely terrifying Wangwang Tianwei. The whole power of nature. It is impossible for any ordinary creature to be able to contend with it on its own. At this moment, even Su Ling and others, who had worshipped Shenlin to the extreme and were superstitious just now, had completely lost all color on their faces. It's over. But at this moment, Deep Blue still just stood there quietly. Not far behind the ice blue bone guard, Lin Ran, the master, also looked calm and unfazed. One master and one servant. Faced with such overwhelming power of burning molten heaven and earth. But it seems leisurely and indifferent, as if just admiring the scenery. Then, Lin Ran spoke softly. Dark blue. Turn it up. The words fell. For a moment, the soul flame in the deep blue eyes burned, jumped and boiled suddenly. The ace killer move that had been suppressed for a long time was finally revealed on the card table at the moment when the opponent's figure was revealed. Blessed by the King of Eternal Frost status. The ultimate move is activated. Yangshuang era. At this moment, the entire valley, including Tishan who was seriously injured and on the verge of death, Nightingale, Su Ling and even all the adventurers, seemed to have an illusion. It was such a hot molten world that it seemed like the air was boiling. Like, cooling down. The next second, centered on where the ice blue bone guard was standing, the unprecedentedly terrifying and violent ice energy surged in all directions. The moment when the giant molten dragon at the platinum level summoned the raging waves of the flame snake. It was as if the air throughout the valley began to steam and burn. Wherever the flaming snake passes, a wave of crimson flames swept across, covering half of the world. When all the adventurers despaired and thought that they would surely die and be burned to ashes by this terrifying wave of flames. Suddenly, quietly, the valley seemed to have cooled down. The body of the ice blue bone guard in the King of Eternal Frost state is wrapped in a gorgeous evening dress formed by ice blue flames. With the place where he stands as the center, when the era of Eternal Frost at the bottom of the box begins with the big move, the terrifying and boiling ice elemental energy goes crazy. The gathering immediately swept from all directions. The soul flame in the deep blue eyes suddenly boiled. Back from Deep Blue's feet. Half of the magma pool and even half of the valley behind him suddenly snowed heavily. In an instant, the lava pool froze and the space solidified. Turned into a glacier world. At this moment, what appeared in the eyes of all the adventurers present was such a shocking and mythical epic picture. The whole valley, centered on two figures, one large and one small, in the magma pool. Half ice, half fire. The two terrifying and destructive forces of ice and fire are at odds with each other, and the glacier world is confronting the waves of molten flames. The raging waves of the flame snake summoned by the giant magma dragon swept forward violently. But even if it is a huge wave of flames, but they were all instantly frozen and turned into ice sculptures 3 feet in front of the ice blue bone guard. Have equal shares. Don't give in an inch. Blessed by the status of the everlasting frost era. All 4-dimensional attributes of the ice blue bone guard were doubled to 100% and reached an unprecedented peak. What about platinum? Still capable. Almost all the adventurers present were stunned and their hearts were trembling to the extreme. Su Ling even opened her little mouth into a shocked and cute shape. Blocked. In the magma pool, the giant magma dragon that had been promoted to the platinum level let out an earth-shattering roar of anger. The huge mouth opened wide again, revealing densely packed ferocious fangs. The terrifying and boiling fire element energy gathered and concentrated crazily in its mouth. Then a mouthful of crimson dragon breath was spit out directly. The pillar of dragon's breath fire with a diameter of 1 foot shot towards the target ice blue bone guard like lightning. All the adventurers present suddenly changed their colors again. Among the 3 adventurer captains with 4-level cultivation, Leng Han, the beast master who was the least injured, was already shouting in fear and anxiety. Careful, you can't catch this dragon's breath. Although the flame breath exhaled by the giant molten dragon is not as powerful as the real dragon's breath, it is dozens of times more powerful than the breath of the quasi-gold level ferocious beast, the red flame demonic tiger, that Lin Ran once encountered. Just this moment, under the strongest realm of the Eternal Frost era, the soul flame burned faintly in the deep blue eyes. He just raised his slender, crystal-clear right arm. It was as if the king was issuing instructions to his fans. Ice Cube Storm Pheasant Mouth. Enhanced Edition. Suddenly, the energy of the frost elements gathered together again, and the lava pool turned into a glacier under the feet. In an instant, countless huge ice ridges rose up from the ground and roared into the air. In the blink of an eye, an unprecedented huge ice crystal phoenix was formed. The giant ice crystal phoenix flutters its wings, glowing with intoxicating crystal brilliance under the bright sun in midair, exuding endless majesty. There was a clear roar like cracking gold and cracking stone. He flapped his wings and faced the terrifying crimson dragon breath of destruction head-on. Ice and fire collide again. In the center of the magma pool, the ice wind and dragon's breath collided fiercely. There was an earth-shaking loud noise. Countless flying flames and frost and ice mist exploded. The collision between the two terrifying elemental energies was still indistinguishable in the end, each canceling out and dispersing. Just when all the adventurers on the scene and even the magma pythons were still dizzy and unsteady due to the terrifying aftershock of the explosion, Deep Blue had already touched the ground with his toes, holding the ice blade in his hand and stepped on the ice road like lightning and flew forward again. Go! In a blink of an eye. Under the cover of flying flames and large cold fog. He had already reached the giant molten dragon again. But this is the moment. The giant molten dragon, who is thought to have become its prey, actually revealed ridicule with human-like wisdom in its giant vertical pupils the size of millstones. It was as if it had been prepared for Deep Blue's sudden attack. Suddenly, Su Ling, who was on the shore of the lava pool, suddenly came to her senses. With her family background, she couldn't help but shouted in anxiety and panic. Don't look into its eyes. But it seems it's too late. The next second, the vertical pupils in the giant molten dragon's eyes suddenly lit up, with a hint of golden light deep in the pupils. This is the pressure of the dragon's soul. An inherited killer move from the deepest part of the bloodline. Even if he fails to be promoted to the true dragon clan, even the spiritual attack of the dragon is enough to make the ferocious beasts below the diamond realm lose consciousness instantly. This is the real trump card of the giant magma dragon. Pity. It met the Deep Blue. The moment their eyes met, the two soul flames in the ice blue bone guard's eyes also suddenly bloomed. The unprecedented spiritual pressure of the king directly collided with the sight of the giant dragon inherited from the true dragon bloodline. The moment of collision. For the giant molten dragon, the expected scene of the dead skeleton being deprived of its soul and soul failed to occur, but at this moment it heard a loud noise in its head, as if it was being struck by an invisible giant force. Forcefully pulled into another world. It was a vast and extremely cold world. The end of endless frost. It's as if time is frozen in ice. The giant molten dragon looked into the distance in confusion and panic, only to see the most terrifying and shocking last scene in its life. The highest point of the ice tower. The king, who was wearing an ice blue cloak, turned around if he realized it. The cold and majestic gaze swept across what seemed like thousands of miles away. In an instant, the spirit of the platinum-level molten dragon was easily shattered. Next moment. In the real world, the huge body of the giant magma dragon, which was more than 30 feet tall in the magma pool, suddenly shook violently. The red scales all over its body exploded and danced, causing blood to spray all over the sky. The ice blade in Deep Blue's hand moved smoothly across without any hindrance. A trace of blood slowly appeared on the body of the giant molten dragon. The huge head crashed down onto the lava pool. Blood flowers splashed all over the sky along with molten lava. The whole place was shocked and silent. At the same moment, the pleasant reminder of the synthesis system sounded in Lin Ran's ears. You killed the platinum low-grade ferocious beast, the giant molten dragon, and the energy value is plus 500. Close black lens bracket. Deep Blue cut off the head of the giant molten dragon with an ice blade. After the terrifying ferocious beast that had just broken through and been promoted to the lower level of platinum lost its head, its huge body of more than 30 feet stood frozen on the spot, and then slumped down and landed heavily on the surface of the lava pool, once again splashing magma flying points and sparks all over the sky. The remaining magma pythons and several giant python leaders in the valley also completely lost their will to fight and fled in all directions. However, they were all surrounded and killed by the adventurers who came back to their senses and their morale was boosted. So far, the war is over. The adventurers who narrowly escaped death put down their weapons and burst into cheers in celebration, almost crying with joy. Finally, the cheers gradually died down. Everyone looked at the two figures of the master and the servant in front of the lava pool with infinite reverence and awe. The ice blue bone guard has lifted the effect of the Eternal Frost era, and the state of the Eternal Frost King has quietly faded away. After making such a great contribution and achieving such an amazing record, it seems that everything is calm and he just returned to his master. Behind him, he stood calmly and continued to guard meticulously and faithfully. Lin Ran stepped forward, looked towards the center of the lava pool. After the giant magma dragon's body slowly sank to the bottom of the pool, several groups of light clusters emitting bright crystal light slowly emerged and floated in front of Lin Ran. Among them, there is a platinum gold light group wrapped in 3 platinum quality fire spiritual stones. There are also 3 light groups emitting dazzling platinum luster, and each light group contains a piece of platinum equipment. The last light group remains. It is even more dazzling. It actually exudes diamond-like brilliance. Lin Ran stretched out his hand, and the diamond light ball also fell into Lin Ran's hand. When the light dissipated, a round spiritual stone that was red and gold and seemed to have the spirit of molten flowing slowly came into view. Named Molten Abyss Divine Stone. Attribute: Fire Element. Quality: Diamond Level. Diamond Quality Fire Spiritual Stone. Even Lin Ran couldn't help but look happy now. His original purpose of entering this lava valley instance was to collect fire spiritual stones. The most basic goal is to collect 10 gold level fire spirit stones, and you will have the opportunity to synthesize your soul bone staff to at least a level above platinum. But now, a wave of bosses is over. Directly harvested 3 platinum quality and 1 diamond quality fire spiritual stones. It is equivalent to far exceeding the mission goal. This time, Lin Ran couldn't help but start to look forward to how high the level of the soul bone staff would be upgraded by using these high-quality fire spiritual stones to synthesize it. When Lin Ran pocketed several high-quality fire spiritual stones, other adventurers in the valley also gathered around. The little beauty Su Ling took the lead and jumped in front of Lin Ran as quickly as possible. She was so excited that she forgot about the differences between men and women. She hugged Lin Ran's arm and shook her head excitedly. Lin Ran, you are so strong. This is the giant molten dragon after its breakthrough evolution. It is at least a top quality gold or even platinum level ferocious beast, but you were able to kill it instantly by you so easily. Warm fragrant nephrite in hand. Lin Ran could even feel the warmth and softness on Su Ling's chest through Su Ling's thin clothes, which was indeed so comfortable that it made people think about it. He smiled and pulled his arm back, saying a few words modestly. Nothing. It's just Shen Lan's credit. I just watched the excitement. Naturally, everyone present didn't take it seriously when he said this. The main fighting method of the Beast Master is naturally to control the beast. The strong beast control also shows the talent and strength of the Beast Master. At this moment, the adventurers who gathered around him had completely regarded Lin Ran as a god. On the surface, he is just an ordinary high school student with no other characteristics besides being handsome, but he can actually kill this platinum-level giant molten dragon head-on with a skeleton beast. This strength. Look at the entire southeastern province and even the Federation. It is almost impossible to find such a young top talent. A high school student can actually achieve such a feat that only a strong person from the 5 realms can accomplish. Then given time, wouldn't this young man have the opportunity to become a legend and become a new generation of giants in the Federation and even a powerful person in the country? At this time, the crowd was separated, and the 3 captains of the adventurer team just now, Tishan, Nightingale and Lengan, also came up. The 3 of them were all seriously injured in the fierce battle just now, but fortunately their lives were not in danger. Now they have recovered, and they all came up to express their gratitude with eager expressions of gratitude. Tishan, who has a bold personality, beats his chest loudly. My life was saved by you, little brother Lin Ran. In the future, whenever I have any errands, Tishan promises to be on call. These words were spoken with great pride, and the other adventurers nearby curled their lips inwardly when they heard this. Everyone has already seen that this Lin Ran has a bright future. Tishan looks like a rough guy, but in fact he is also thoughtful. With the help of life-saving grace, he naturally established a relationship with Lin Ran, and he embraced her in advance. Thigh. What a thief. Leng Han, the beast master of the Four Realms, has a taciturn character, but he also solemnly made the same promise to Lin Ran as Tishan. As for Nightingale, the wood spirit arrowsmith of the Four Realms, a beautiful woman with a hot body and a flamboyant personality, at this time, she gave full play to her own advantages. Without paying any attention to the envious looks of the adventurers around him, he took Lin Ran's head into his arms and rubbed it. "Oh, little brother Lin Ran, you will be my savior from now on. How can my sister repay you? How can I describe this feeling?" Being pressed on the opponent's chest and being rubbed, Lin Ran felt dizzy and felt a delicate fragrance, and only one thought filled his mind. Turbulent. It's so turbulent. In the end, it was Su Ling who was watching from the side and couldn't help but feel a little jealous, and, rescued, Lin Ran, who was still a little regretful and reluctant to leave, from the Nightingale's hot and passionate embrace. After some polite thanks, we talked about the distribution of the spoils. The three adventurer team captains all said without hesitation that the largest Molten Dragon trophy should all belong to Lin Ran. Although the other adventurers were envious of these priceless pieces of platinum equipment, they did not agree with such a distribution. No objection whatsoever. Lives were saved by others. To be a good person, you need to know what you are doing. Others were polite and courteous, but Lin Ran was not unreasonable. Although he and Shenlin deserved the greatest credit, it was also thanks to Tishan and Nightingale who were working around and also put in a lot of effort. So he said that except for the few fire spirit stones that he had to take, he would only choose one of the other 3 platinum items, and the remaining 2 would be distributed to Tishan and the others. They could take them to the auction house and then use the proceeds as a pledge. Credit contributions are distributed to all adventurers present. The words fell. The crowd suddenly fell silent, and the adventurers could hardly believe their ears. But when he came back to his senses, everyone present burst into ecstatic screams and cheers. If these adventurers were originally grateful to Lin Ran for saving their lives, now most of them are really devoted to Lin Ran and even want to follow him. After the discussion, Tishan walked towards several platinum light groups floating in the air ahead. When he was about to reach out and take off several pieces of platinumware, he turned around and handed them over to Lin Ran for selection. Something strange happened suddenly. Thanks for watching, subscribe and support my channel.